Welcome back, everybody. Our next guest spent a month in Paris in search of connection, pleasure, and the odd baguette. What she found was a journey into decadence and radical female enjoyment.
Joining us to celebrate her latest memoir is the author of I'm Mostly Here to Enjoy Myself, Glynnis MacNicol. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
So this memoir follows you around during the summer of 2021, and that's after over a year of pandemic lockdown in New York City. And you say that getting out of New York City was a necessity.
Yes.
But why Paris?
Well, I'd spent summers past in Paris, and so I had a friend group there, and I knew the city. And also the French prioritize pleasure, I think, in a very fundamental way, that it's sort of a human right there. So when I was able to book my ticket, I had a friend with an apartment that opened up. I booked my ticket that May, and I thought, if the plane takes off, I'll be on it. And if it doesn't take off, then we're used to that level of uncertainty. But it took off, and I went.
I mean, I'm a huge pleasure pusher, so this is right up my alley.
She is.
But let's be honest, seeking pleasure can take so many different forms. And what's wonderful about this book is that you go into so much great detail, talking about the amazing foods that you're eating, to the joy of being surrounded by just friends on a night out, among other pleasures. Let's talk about how vital it was for you to seek out small pleasures.
I think when we talk about pleasure, we get a little caught in the idea that it's only sexual in a sense, and truly what makes, for most of us, a pleasurable day or experience are the small things. It's the food, it's the rest, it's the quiet. Someone told me they felt like the solitude I talk about in the book, having a day to myself, was erotic in its own way. And I think like focusing on those small things are actually how we live, and what makes a day so enjoyable in ways that are sometimes hard to articulate.
You write this lovely part about lockdown where you were missing the sense of touch, human contact so much. Like you had some fur coats and you just kind of roll around in them to get that feeling. So why do you think something like touch, that human contact, is just so vital?
Scientists have done studies on animals where when they restrict their touch, any touch, after a while the animals will choose touch over food. Is how fundamental touch is. And there's a condition called skin hunger. And I was very alone in a very small apartment for 14 months or so. So when I got there, it was like it was a literal physical craving, but it was just, I couldn't get enough of any sort of touch. Community, sitting at a table, you know, the sense of movement. And I did. I mean, I don't know, I might be aging myself here even more, but that idea of,
Oh, so beautiful.
Like that famous Cosmopolitan cover of Burt Reynolds lying
I know that one.
fur coats. That's what I thought of. I was just like, I just wanted any approximation of a tactile experience at some point.
Okay, so but once you got to Paris, you sort of went looking for touch in quite a literal way. You started exploring dating apps in Paris. So as a woman in her 40s, you recount how it felt sort of different to be online dating at this particular stage. Talk about that a little bit.
So I think it was a combination of literally being unseen for such a long time with age, where you're so prepared culturally to be invisible. I think women are often warned about age, you become invisible to the world. And my experience when I got there was the exact opposite, and that at first I was getting so much attention, I was stunned by it, and it felt like a drug. And then I thought, well, everything is available to me, so I will avail myself of it as much as possible.
Glynnis, were you surprised at all by reactions from the French men you met online when it came to your pleasure?
Yeah, they seem very invested in it, I would say.
Go on. Tell us more.
I mean, this is broadly speaking, and obviously there are exceptions to the rule, but I do think in Europe they are much more comfortable with the idea of sex and pleasure. And in North America, and I live in New York City, there's a more Puritan element to sex that sort of is still attached a little bit to shame. And it was notable to me when I was there that everyone I encountered was invested in me enjoying myself, which is so where the title came from. So yeah, it's great.
I do think, I mean, I loved how consent forward also the interactions were online. I think there's stuff for men of North America to learn from your book. Anyway,
Men would really enjoy this book.
It is very interesting. It's common for women of a certain age, I think usually around their 30s, to start often feeling anxious about their life milestones. There's certain ones that society has told us that we should reach and have under our belt. That's the engagement, the marriage, the children. You've sort of bucked those trends, and what has this decade taught you in life about those milestones and also the realities of aging?
I personally have found the narratives around aging to be not true across the board. That to the point where I assume everything at this point that I'm told is a lie unless proven otherwise. None of them have panned out in reality. I find myself more attractive, more powerful, more intelligent. I would also just say, like, the narratives we have around women's lives are narrow for everyone, regardless of what milestones you're hitting. I think that I'm not sure they serve any of us very well. So I have found the less that I attach myself to them, the more enjoyable literally everything is.
Wow. It sounds like every single person needs to experience Paris. That's the big takeaway.
Or the idea of it,
The
anyway.
idea. I want to know, let's end on, what was your biggest takeaway?
I think that I entered Paris in my mid-40s after a lot of isolation, and I came out the other side feeling extremely optimistic and excited, and that whatever was coming, my horizons were broadened, and that I could anticipate things getting better and not worse.
So hope.
Yeah, and excitement, I think,
hope
and power.
excitement.
Yeah.
Glynnis, thank you for this
Thank you for having
pleasure-filled
me.
conversation.
Yes!
Thank you.
So the book is called I'm Mostly Here to Enjoy Myself, One Woman's Pursuit of Pleasure in Paris, and it is out now. But guess what, studio audience? You're all going home with your very own.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.